Hi, my name is Patty, and I want to talk to you about this spinning wheel today. I bought it at an antique shop a long time ago, about 20 years ago, but there should be another part here and a pedal on the bottom. And these were used early in the 19th century. Nearly every house in Ireland had one because this is how they made their clothes. Well, I suppose you put the ball of wool or the trucked piece of whatever it is they've taken off the sheep and just keep scraping it like this, like you'd comb your hair to straighten it out, to tease and tease and tease till they get the strands to knit. If you watched them today, you'd see them on the telly and they have a thing like a razor that they can take the coat off the sheep. But in them days, they had to take it off themselves. Any tools they had, sharp knives and things, they didn't have a scissors. They have to wash the wool then because it was dirty. And there's a sort of an oil in the wool, but it's called lanolin. And it protects the sheep. When the sheep, they don't get wet in. When it's raining, a sheep wouldn't get wet because this oil protects them from the rain. So you'd see when you look into a field, the sheep are out in the rain and they don't mind because they're protected by their coats. Do you know that word? Do you know bonine? Bonine is the name of the wool that they took off the sheep, you know. And later on in years, they started to colour it. So they got different colours, but it wasn't coloured in them days. You can also get wool from goats, but mostly it was sheep in Ireland, you know, and obviously Wales. They have a lot of sheep in Wales. It would be used to make jumpers. Now, you couldn't go into Pennies and buy a jumper. You had to start again from the beginning, get the sheep, take his coat off, take the wool and wind it and put it onto this, work it onto this. Here, it came here first, then onto the wheel, and the kids wound it and wound it and wound it onto a card. And then the poor mother had to not only do that, but then she had to knit the jumpers and whatever she was making, coats and jackets. But that's how they lived. That's how life was years ago. The spinning wheel was very useful because it was an industry too. It brought money into the house. People could buy goods and things by just barter, traded with other people, you know. But they used to sing while they worked at this. You know, there is a song called The Spinning Wheel, but I often think about it. But they used to sit singing while they were spinning, you know. Mellow, the moonlight to shine is beginning. Close by the window, young Eileen is spinning. Down by the fire, her old grandmother's sitting, moaning and groaning and drowsily knitting. Spin the wheel, spin the wheel. So I'd say they were happy enough. You know, it's like everything else. If you never had something, you wouldn't miss it. So they didn't have the shops we had. That was their life in those days, you know. Very nice little life if you think about it. Hard work, but nice. You'd say, how did they survive, you know, in those days? No electricity, no heating, you know, no running water, no toilets. Just basic, very basic little houses. But like I said, it's a long, slow process. So the jumpers had to be minded very carefully and they had to last. They've too much today. Everybody has too much, you know. Where when I was young, you got one thing at Christmas, a blackboard, an easel, or a tin of paints. You know, these little tins of paints. And that'd last you till there was nothing left. We didn't have the luxuries kids have today or anything like it. And when you're finished with something, your sister wore it, or when my older sister wore something, when it was too small for her, I got it, you know, when you hand it down. That's what I mean about today. You know, where we had a new dress, you'd be minding it, real precious, you know. You only wore your good clothes of a Sunday when I was young. And there was no waste, absolutely no waste in them days, you know. Even this guy used to come around collecting rags. And if you had rags to give him, that'd be anything that was completely finished, he'd give you a balloon. But he'd come up the road with a horse and cart, and there was a balloon on the horse's head, and he'd shout, any rags? And the kids would be all gathering out, running out with whatever they could find to get a balloon. I like knitting. I've been knitting since I was a child. The nuns in school taught me how to knit. And I found it difficult at first, but then I got the hang of it and I liked it. And I still knit today. We knit mostly for charity now. I belong to a knitting group and we knit for charity. And it's a great pastime. And it's like that. I will hand it down from me to somebody else. We used to teach children in the school down the road how to knit. And they liked it very much. And I don't really recommend anybody to take it up because you'll enjoy it like I do, you know, and you'll make nice stuff that you'll be proud to make and show your granny and show everybody else.